Hey.
Hey everyone. Again, like I was saying to Laurie, I'm really grateful for being on this platform, for being on this live. And uh, Creativity is something that's always been with me. And I think that it shows mostly in how I relate to people, which I think it's an art, right? To be able
Yeah.
to be present with people. It's a skill. I'm a mom, first off. I think that that is one of the best titles that I've grown to appreciate.
Yeah.
Sometimes, even ourselves, I think, as caretakers could sideswipe such a great responsibility.
Right.
Uh,
How old are your kids?
I have a 15-year-old, a
Oh, wow.
12-year-old, and a 10-year-old.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
busy right now.
Yeah. I'm busy with their lives, but they are great children. And I think that that also ties into the creative arts and it ties into mental health, which leads to my platform and my publication. I've been in mental health for 15 years. I
Wow.
started off, the first probably 10 years were all administrative.
Okay.
So I learned a lot of the policies, the corporate side of mental health. But for the last 5 years, I've been able to work more hand in hand with psychiatrists, psychologists, the homeless population as a peer specialist, using my lived in experience to be able to touch a different kind of approach to mental health, I think.
Sure.
Uh, so that's where my publication comes in. I just want to connect with other people because I think that even though we are, I guess, a progressive nation to certain degrees in certain areas, there's still a stigma to mental health. There's still a lot of I think, perceptions of what mental health should look like. So if you don't fit that stereotype, then you could kind of just go under the radar. And I
Yeah.
think that I was one of those statistics. And with my publication and just working with people, I want to put it out there that you know what. Mental health has many different faces and it doesn't have to look like a particular kind to elicit help.
Yeah.
That should be a human innate thing to come out to want to help when someone asks for it, regardless
Yeah.
of what
Yeah.
what diagnosis or title they have.
100%. 100%. So, in your work now, I think, sorry, I don't want to jump around too much, but
Yeah.
when
I
that
have
time, I
ADHD
think,
that works for me.
yeah, I think how we met was you had posted an article about creativity helping your mental health, or it was maybe, um, do you remember what I'm referencing?
Well, you know what? I remember which I felt very flattered. And I was like, "Oh, Lori, read it." It was I think just that people pleasing
Oh, right, that was it.
style, that kind of always molding towards other people's right life. And I think that the way that you mirrored it back was just, that seems to be an issue primarily with a lot of women.
Yeah,
And that was which I thought was a great perception because it brought it back to me again to see that aside from it being personal, right? Because when we caretake in that way, it's because we love the people we're doing it for
yeah,
first and foremost, right? If we take away all the labels. Um, but two, it is a societal systematic problem,
yeah,
because if, in a household, it's a household, right? But when you have hundreds of thousands of women relating to that topic, then it's systemic.
yeah, yeah. And I remember too when I was in practice, and I used to work in mental health many many years ago with small young children. So it was 3 to 6 year olds in a mental health
Mm.
outpatient program, and so imagine working with preschool age children who have been severely traumatized. And I remember being as a caretaker, as one of the team therapists, is that there was um, I could only do that work for so long because I was okay. And also on the side of I don't know if I'm officially an empath, but I take people's feelings and I tend to take them on. I have to have really strong boundaries because I get close to people. I learn about their story, and I found that it was really hard for me. This was more than 20 years ago. That um, what's the word called when as a therapist, when you take the work on, you take their emotions on, and it's
Oh,
hard to
a
kind
project
of
oh, yeah, I know what you're saying.
I
Like
think it's like projection or something
like
like that.
project similar like that, yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, and so,
Transference.
transfers, thank you.
Yes.
And so, and that becomes a huge issue, like, how do you manage you're trying to help these other people manage so they can be functional in society, and then you take that on as a caregiver, and then then you have to manage your own mental health around helping others. So, I don't know if you have any more comments you wanna make about that or your experience with
Yeah,
that.
yeah, no, I do wanna share because actually, Laura, I have made a transition into what I'm currently doing. Right. So again, I've been in mental health for a really long time. And my last work for the last 3 years has really been community work. It has really been, being out there working with a population that society really has been like, you know what, forget it. There's no help there. So I've been having to expose myself to a lot of situations that could really be draining and could really, they're not just, oh, I clocked out. It's no longer my problem because I see it everywhere. I see it, I saw it in the rehabilitation center that I worked with. I saw it, in the food centers and the food banks that I was at, and I saw it even within my own coworkers. So again, it goes back to this perpetual sadness that we all have.
Yeah,
So how
yeah,
that transitions into where I'm at today was again. Uh, Mental health for me is an ongoing process. So, in order for me to continue to heal, I also have to make sure that my environment is sustainable, even when I can't. So, when you have a high pressure job like being a social worker, working with those kinds of demographics,
yeah.
you really, in my opinion, and now I'm only speaking for myself, um, there really is no shutting the door.
Mhm.
There really is no you forget that and move on. At least for me, I can't do that. So
Sure.
how am I transmuting that is I'm now working with children. In a similar context, more on the educational side.
Okay.
Because, thankfully, my dad, he's like, you have such great gifts. And yes, you're pouring into the adults, but why don't you try pouring into the children that can still show you the fruit of your labor? Not
Mhm.
that adults won't do the same,
Sure,
but with children, it's like a tree, right? You at least have the benefit of seeing it grow to your size
sure.
if you're lucky.
Yeah.
So I have transitioned not only for my own heart and sake, but also because children I feel are part of our creative side. To tie it back into that, I think when I look at your paintings, and I even see when I think some of these paintings you have in the back, you
Oh,
re-image them,
yeah.
right? Maybe, or
Yeah.
they
Well,
started off as something else,
yeah,
or yeah, and then
yeah,
you redid them this way. So I
exactly. They
think
were they were older paintings that just
yeah,
they had this life that didn't end up going anywhere, which is a really interesting metaphor, or they stayed rolled up and dark in the closet, and I'm just like, "Well, let's give these guys a new life and rework them." So,
yeah. So
exactly,
so
that's what
so I think that, I think just like how you just said that beautifully, that's how I've learned to see people and I've learned to see myself. And I think that again now it's just transitioning more into an educator role. working with children, which I enjoy as well.
So is your work currently through like a city program, or is it
So,
through school
again, you know
district?
what? And this is another blessing, right? I mean, obviously, most of everyone that's watching here is already adults with full careers, but I'm one of those that took me like 10 years to get a bachelor's degree. But I did it, and I'm very proud of that. And I tell my children, you know what, success, as long as you are doing what truly flows, will come. But the benefit of having a college degree is that, you know what, when you are not happy with what you're doing, you can be like, F it, let me do something else. And you can
Yeah,
reimagine yourself because even though that degree does not um, say who you are, it does
yeah,
open doors. It does
sure.
open doors. So, because of that degree, I have been able to transition to the public school system.
Oh, good.
Yes. So my goal is to be able to be an educator there, and teach mindfulness and yoga and all the shit that I think people should learn.
Okay, so there is somebody I need to connect you with. Her name was Jan Joya, and she was, I'm sorry, my cat just jumped up here. Um, Jan Joya, she was one of the earlier people that I interviewed, and she has developed a program. It's called We Meditate,
Mm,
and it's a meditation application, but it's on the computer that helps children learn the practice of meditation. And it helps children learn then to how to manage anxiety, depression, and it's for children of all ages and all abilities. And which is so I want to connect you with her because that could be
thank you.
something that you could use in the school district. And she's working out of Colorado.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you, Lori, for that. Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
one of the benefits also, my children like to call me a hippie farmer, because I
Hippie
have been
farmer.
I have been blessed, Lori, that even though I've had a roller coaster of a life as far as experiences, so I think in the most of those questions that you asked, I said my lens is skewed in a way, but in a way it has allowed me to flow with different experiences as far as work goes. And I just lost where I was going with that, but I think the benefit is I got to homeschool my children for 7 years. I had that opportunity to do so. And in that, I was
Wow.
able to see, and they were different ages, right? And two
Right.
of them, um, there are some, that some diagnoses that I wasn't aware that I also was involved with. It was just like, oh my goodness. But I think having the blissful ignorance of just, hey, let's see how well we do together and how I can raise you with the love that comes from me as a human being. Um, I was able to see that mindfulness and creativity, when the environment lends itself with safety, not perfection, right?
Yeah.
Because you could get angry, right? That's an emotion. It's
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
you do with that, right? If you,
Right.
again, typical example to say, if you spill your milk, what are you going to do? You're going to yell at me, or you're going to help me clean it up? Which one?
Right.
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 So I think that really I was able to see that with my children, and that actually, and I think you wrote about this maybe in a short post about, I was able to reparent myself, that inner child, through
Mhm.
watching them make their own experiences of life for the first time in certain things. I was able, and I still do, how to catch myself in the old programming to the new one of, okay, let's bring safety first so
Yeah.
that you can be who you need to be. Why do I always have to be on guard or walking on eggshells to be who I am?
Right.
World already
Right.
puts us through that, as we can
Yeah.
see.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's one of the biggest responsibilities, as a parent, I think, and as a therapist, is to just hold space and, like you said, make a creative, safe space to express what you need to express, to in art making and dance and play, or just like you're saying, even in a learning environment, how can kids learn if they don't feel safe and secure in the environment that they're in? So, you might have, what you were talking about earlier. I was just glancing at your questions, and it said, well, when did you first discover you had a creative side? And you talked about being about 4 years old, and you would fill um, journals and notebooks full of your experiences.
Yeah, so writing has always been something very a creative outlet for me. Just words, phrases, and it started when I was 4, I just would write about my how I was playing with my dolls, what I would write about what I thought the world looked like. And I did it through color too. So a lot of those composition notebooks had a lot of drawings in them, and I think that it was a way that I didn't really take it out upon myself like you've seen, or you hear about in other children with self-injurious acts and stuff like that.
Okay.
I did
Hmm.
more of, I chose the creative outlet in that, and I think that stuck with me for a while.
Sure.
And so I think going back to the publication, that is also why, I just enjoy writing on here. I enjoy coming to Substack. I enjoy meeting the people that I have met, because I think that through writing and reading, we can connect through people. I think that
Yeah.
I also, we see it through books. At least for me, I grew up where books were more important. Now you have everything digital. Um,
Yeah.
so those even my first understanding of emotions came through words, through writing and reading. So
Hmm.
I've always appreciated that form.
Yeah. Yeah. So for today, give us like if you could just walk us through a typical day in this new position, this job, and what your responsibilities are in working with youth.
So the what I'm going to be doing right now is just kind of covering basic uh, teacher duties, right? Kind
Okay.
of, so just whatever classroom I'm assigned to. But the goal is to be able to create a curriculum of where, um, you know, research, evidence based mindfulness practices are employed in the school.
Mm.
That is really my goal. That's the
Yeah.
infiltration that I want to plant. That's the seed that I want
Yeah.
when I go in there is
Yeah.
how do you make this part of the curriculum? Not as
Yeah.
not as, oh, this is some woo woo. No, you know what? If you can regulate your children, then they are much easier to influence in the good way. Because when they already come dysregulated, they're influenced in negativity. Because,
Right.
there's research out there that shows perception bias that teachers may have towards students. If a child comes in an aggressive manner, the teacher may perceive that child as hostile, not knowing what if that child is being abused at home? What if that
Right.
child being bullied at school? You don't know where that child is coming from, yet
Right.
your bias has now changed the outcome of how that child will perform in
Right.
school.
And how that child affects the classroom, and now you
Right.
got to do behavior management, and now this kid is seen as a problem
That's right.
when this kid just is trying to survive the situation that's
For what
happening on any given day.
if the kid, you know what, woke up because it's cold outside and they don't want to be at school? Listen, I
Yeah.
homeschooled my children. We have a 2-story home, and they would be like, "Oh, I don't want to go to school." And I'm like, "Dude, it's just downstairs, buddy. Come on." So it doesn't have to be something as drastic as trauma. It could be just a temper tantrum.
Sure.
But I think just having the awareness of let me see where that child is coming from, and let it be a foundation in the education system, I think, and again, it's a seed, right? We didn't get to where we are today because we didn't try things that actually worked. I always think about like, and this is a tangent, but I won't go there. But I always think about, when we talk about lost civilizations and where did they go, and I'm like, well, they didn't go anywhere. We're here. We just evolved into um, I didn't get to where I am today because I kept doing the things that kept getting me in trouble. No, I
Right.
decided, hey, maybe let me change that. So I'm just a better version of who I used to be.
Yeah. Yeah, that's always interesting too about change and self-growth, and I think a lot of people come to Substack for that, like, looking for something that can help, support some issues they're going through or something that can inspire them or something that can provide them, um with some food for thought, or if I want to transition to something new, there's a lot of support and coaching and resources here on this platform. So, which I think would be a good segue to your peer perspectives. Do you want to talk about
Yeah,
your platform and how people can like who you'd like to reach through that, who you like to help,
absolutely.
and
Absolutely, Laurie. Thank you. Thank you for that plug-in. Yeah, so again, Peer Perspectives was just born from the idea of what I've been doing for the last 3 years has been a peer specialist. So again, that is a person with lived-in experience. You really don't have to have any educational background to do something like that. But what I appreciate from that certification and that work knowledge is that you have more direct contact with demographics that truly need the help. And then you're placed in a position that you can go back and make a difference. I've been blessed to work with a community center here in the Homestead area. Homestead, for those of you that don't know, again, I'm in South Florida, but I live in a very agricultural part of South Florida. So a lot of the population are farmers, immigrants, and people just from different cultures, because we also have a lot of Asian culture down here. So having that diverse form of being able to connect with people is very important. So that's where Peer Perspectives came from. That's where this publication came from, where I want to be a resource. One of the greatest things that I would say of my neurodivergent brain is that I don't like to be a Karen, like they say, the kids, right?
yeah, yeah,
When I believe that things can get done right, they need to get done right. This is not about, oh, I have the time. No. As someone that has worked within the system to get people the resources that they need, a lot of the roadblock is people's own biases, people's own reflections sometimes of not doing the work. And again, this is not about you. This is about how can we have the resources and how can I give you those resources indifferent of what I think of you as a person. Um, and I think that that's where, again, peer perspectives came from, where I want to reach communities. Primarily, I've again the last 3 years I've worked with people with personality disorders, major depressive disorder, and sometimes this kind of population, at least this kind of diagnoses, we don't reach out, we don't ask for help. And I've noticed that being able to connect with these people and say, hey, listen, I've done it. At least my story doesn't have to be your story, but you know what? We could be scared together and fuck it, let's do it.
yeah, yeah. And
Um,
and you living and thriving as an example
yes.
to others that, "Oh my gosh, if she could do it, then," and that there
Listen,
is no way to discount the power of that, is that just being able to connect with another human being and having some, motivation and hope that you see someone struggle. I had that same thing happen, and it can be life-changing if they connect with the right person,
abs-
for that.
And so that's where, that's what my goal and my hope is, that those that reach out, through this publication, is that, I can connect them to the resources. Just like I tell my children, "You can ask me whatever you want, and I will probably not know the answer, but you're damn right I'm gonna get you that answer."
Yeah.
Um, so, that's what I wanna tell the people that are watching this, video right now, and whoever visits my page is, I will not know, you know, what you're asking for maybe, but thankfully, there's a lot of connections and there's a lot of people out there that we can walk this road together, because that's what's
Yeah.
me, that's what I've seen that has helped, the people that I've worked with. Again, I don't think that anybody is ever asking for perfection. We're just asking to be seen, to be like, "Hey, I'm asking for help. Help me."
Yeah.
Sometimes it's
Yeah.
as simple as filling out a form, you know?
Yeah.
And I think when it comes to mental health, which, I don't want to, I know we're coming up to that 30-minute mark, but just to kind of circle it back to creativity, um, when you're in a survival state, creativity is the last thing that you think about. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, when you're in the throes of major depression or what have you, without having the tools, because to the outside world, even I've had even my own parents say, "Oh, but you know what? I look at you and you're thriving. We could never tell that you have all of these issues." And it's like, uh, ouch. Because i- the struggle, like they say, is real. But I think when you're able to connect to things, like art, like writing, an outlet that allows you to be present, you build emotional resilience and emotional regulation. But
Yeah.
when you're living out in the streets, when you're constantly being either bullied or harassed at home or at school, or you don't really catch a break, it's hard. It's
Yeah.
hard, so I think that, that's again where I hope not only to instill the seed of mindfulness into the public school system, but also bring back that creativity, because children, need to be out there. They need to draw and run and laugh and dance.
Move their bodies and move their minds, and like just what you were saying, they need to have a safe space where they can just express just express themselves and to take all that stuff and that's what you were just even saying about if you're constantly in survival mode and you can't feel safe and you're constantly in survival mode, how can you even get to a place where you can sit down and be silent and be still? And how can you get to a place where you can even write anything or make any artwork? Um, those are all really valid points, just as far as connecting with a person, and even your connections with a person can help them feel safe, seen, and heard in a world when there's so much of all of this noise, coming in from all of these places.
Which, which I hope is what people, I think, find in your page. I think we share a lot of, the same followers and subscribers, so I've seen a lot of names that are very similar to people that I read their work. I think that we are all a great, source for one another. And I think really that's what has lured me to really stay with Substack, because I actually went to a retreat, about a week ago, and it was like a silent retreat. So before I got on this live, I was like, okay, let me sing a little bit, because I hadn't talked for like 3 hours.
Wow.
So I was like, oh, I didn't, but I think that, we are all pretty just, in comfortable in our own skin. And I think when we're able to be comfortable and okay with who we are, we're no longer in competition with one another. And I think that that's what
Sure.
I say with a lot of the names that I've seen here, and I see here on now. So thank you for being here. Is that, you're all great and you're all awesome. And I've learned so much from each one of you. I mean, when I watch you doing your live paintings and your cat just kind of comes in here, rolling on, doing your thing and you keep going. And I think
Yeah,
watching that realism in life, even if it's through a screen, it's important.
sure.
It's important.
Yeah,
So, and I think that's even creative because, again, we have to have that level of safety to be even able to appreciate something like that.
yeah, yeah. Well, okay, so I'm gonna, is there anything else? I wanna, like, go through the questions here. You guys have any final questions for Juliana before she goes? Please know that the whole interview is going to be combined with her written answers for the Creative Journeys interview series. Um, Donna Frasca wrote, "Art is such a release for me when life gets too busy. Color heals." I agree, I agree. And then she also said, like Donna said, like a sponge, you soak up other people's emotions. Yeah, I think we were talking about empathy and especially um, dealing with people in very challenging situations. Any final thoughts, Juliana?
Um, I think, again, I'm grateful for this opportunity. I'm grateful for everyone that tuned in. And I'm grateful for you bringing on cool people on here and for taking time to do all of this because again, I think just like in my publication, I want to be a resource. You also bring great resources out here. So
Yeah. And I want to be a resource for people who come through you if they have questions about starting a creative practice or how do I get going in a sketchbook, or they can just reach out to me through Substack, and I want to share as much knowledge as I have with others, as much as I'm able to. Um, It'd be really cool. I've met other, and this is maybe something you want to think about for the future. I definitely want to get you with Jan Joya, who has We Meditate. Um, but maybe there's something in the future. I might be co-leading a session with another person that I met through Substack. We're just going to do like a Zoom call, offering it to her subscribers and my subscribers, and we're going to do like um, a sketchbook journal session and just get a way for people to connect, meet new people, have a peer that they can connect with who might be having some similar interests or whatever. And I think again, for me so far, this platform has been a fairly safe space to
mhm.
connect with people, and you can get to meet people and know them better. You can always go to their page and read um, about the things that they're not really knowledgeable at, and they have lots of resources that they can share. So again, you guys, I just want to thank you all for joining today. Please check out Juliana's her steps. Your Substack page specifically is just Juliana. That's
Or
your
if you search peer perspectives,
peer perspectives.
yeah, it should come up.
Yeah,
Thank you again,
yeah,
Laura. Thank you,
yeah.
everyone.
Well, brilliant. Thanks for everyone for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you again. We'll stay connected, and maybe we'll do this again in a few months. Do a follow up.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank
Okay. Here,
you.
have a great day and have a great weekend. Bye,
Too.
guys.
Bye, everyone.